Alright, so let's finish this up in Tubi Horror Weekend with Malevolence 3 Killer Gun. And, maybe this franchise ain't for me. 3 films in, and don't particularly care for all these films. I wouldn't mind owning them to give them rewatches on my own time, because eventually they're going to run out on here, on Tubi, but, I don't know. I don't hate them, by any means. I think they're Stephen Mina, he clearly puts a lot into these films, and it just seems to me like, so, the first film was on a tight budget. Second film went up to $2 million. You had stars like Michael Biehn and Alexander Daddario, and now it's gone back down to like 75,000. So that's kind of less than the first one. So yeah, and you can tell there's a stark difference. And when you put the first scene of this film is going back to the first one, because this film takes place kind of like Halloween 2. It takes place on the same night and the next day in the first one. Although it does complicate things when you think of continuity here. But, like, yeah. So it's interesting. It's interesting how they do that. But they show footage from the first film at the end where, I forgot his name. Leon or something like that. The guy, he helps them out, but then he's shot by the cops because they think that he's the killer, but he's not the killer, and Martin gets away. And then we follow the cops. The cops have found the diary. We follow them, and I'm like, okay, cool. We're following up what happened. And it's 1999, and it's following up. You have cheap ass flip phone, cell phones, and regular phones in the style. It's very late 90s motif. It's very good. Problem. So we get to see, again, you should just hide your killer away in the shadows. Especially if you're going to hire someone in his 30s to play a 16-year-old. Because we get to see Martin's face in this. And honestly, he looks older than the actress playing his mother. I'm serious. He looks like a emo version of the angry video game nerd. That's what he looks like. I'm sure it's probably the same actor from the first one. But that complicates things because now he's older. The first one came out in 2005. This is 13 years later. And they had the same actor. I assume. I can't... There's no Wikipedia page for it, so I don't know. But who knows? But he looks older than the actress playing his mother. And they brought the actress back from the second film who played his mother, Ashley Wolf. They brought her back to play their mother in this, which is cool. And I was into it when I thought it was going to be, we're going to follow the cops, and they're going to track him down. And then it does the same thing the second film does and abandons that so we can follow these stupid-ass college girls that mean nothing to the plot other than they might possibly live in his old house that he had when he was a kid. And I was, for sure, I thought that that's what they were going to do. Because they're like, when the mom tells the detective, oh, we moved back here with my mom. Moved from where? New Hope. I'm like, oh, let me guess. They're living in his house and that's why he went there. They never make that connection, so it's never explicit why he's there. Because it makes no sense to me. I'm going to end this, I'm going to give everything it out, but I don't see a motive here. And when they mentioned that, I'm like, oh, I get it. He went back to his old house. He'd find people, because the whole thing for the previous two was that in the first one, he was minding his own business when those bank robbers showed up at his house. So he took care of business and he killed everyone. And in the second one, the prequel, it was the other guy who was minding his own business, killing people until Allison came jogging along and saw Martin and decided to investigate. She walked into that, so he had to eliminate every single, loose thread there. And so even in this one, at the beginning, he kills the woman and daughter from the end of the first one. Of course, because the actress, it had been so long since the first one, So, yeah. So, cause I was trying to figure out, what is his motive to kill these girls? And when they mentioned that he lived in, maybe it was in the script originally and they wrote it out, thinking it was too obvious. I don't know. But it would have been to get some clarification on that. Like, is it the old house? And that's why he went back. These people are living in his old house and now he's killing them. Anything. Doesn't explain anything. And then there's this conflict that honestly you don't care about. But there's the main character, Ellie. She's having trouble with her boyfriend because her boyfriend cheated on her. And he wants her back, but she won't take him back. And then we learn at a restaurant from this other guy that, the chick that he cheated on her with may not have been, is a skank, and it's mostly her fault. And he seduced her, or she seduced him, and it might not all be his fault. So she's maybe thinking, maybe I'll give him a second chance. And she even calls him as he puts roses on her bed. And then Martin comes in and kills him, and during the process, scatters roses all over the place, and breaks, by accident I think, her violin. So now she goes home and she thinks that John is angry and did this on purpose. For the whole film, they can't find him. They even find his bike. For the whole rest of the film, they can't find him, and they find his bike on the side of the house. And they don't want to think there's something weird is going on. Like, when he just run away. People are calling. Even his sister calls and asks because she's trying to get a hold of him. But they don't put two and two together. One of the roommates is fucking his dude. And she's talking to him while fucking. Which never happens unless it's dirty talk. No one. I mean, I've talked to one of my exes when we were doing it. But when you're in the moment, you don't want to talk. Trust me. And she's just going to town on him. You got titties are flopping around. And she's like, what kind of doctor are you? He's like, RN. She's like, immediately after once she finds out he's a nurse, she's like, what? You're a nurse? No, you can't have me no more. And she's on the phone with her friend later, bitching and complaining about it. So I can't believe I let him kiss me. I'm like, bitch, you let him fuck you. What do you mean, let him kiss you? Of course, she's probably not going to tell her friends that she had sex with a nurse. And it's so superficial. It's like, who cares, right? Who cares what he does? And there's a thing. It's very confusing here. So, next, we get introduced to this couple next door who have a daughter. And he goes to work, which is apparently a long ways away. And then the girl wanders over after the mom disappears. Martin got to her. And then Ellie's with this girl for the rest of the night. They call the dad. The dad says that he's on his way home. It'll be about an hour. So then when the climax happens and everything gets done, and I'll get to that in a minute, but the climax happens, right? And basically they go to this neighbor's house because Martin is chasing them. It's some lady who offers them tea. She dies because of course she does. And then the FBI finally fucking shows up and finally fucking does something other than bug the mom for the entire film mostly. They go straight to the mom because they think he's gonna go to her. Don't you think if he was going to go to her, he would have after he got rid of Sutter? I don't think he cares about his mom. All right. Just saying. If he was trying to find her, he would have already. I'm just saying. But anyways, he's there for most of the film until he realizes that he's got to go to New Hope. And then he's just on the road for most of the time. And then he finally gets there, he shoots Martin, Martin falls back. They do the Michael Myers thing where he shoots him, falls back, and then they cut and he's gone. Which, by the way, they're heavily ripping off. And I mean ripping off. The first one paid homage to stuff like Friday the 13th, Halloween. This is a rip-off. The music, dunna, 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 to the music sting that plays whenever Martin shows up, ding, which is annoying as fuck. Alright? You don't need to have a music sting every time the killer shows up. It's called subtlety. Use it. But every time they show the killer, ding, shoom, bing, just some kind of noise or a musical sting to let you know the killer is there. Even, and this pissed me off because there's a time where he's slinking in the background, and as soon as he's in the background, he comes through the background, it goes ding. I'm like, don't let your audience know that he's in the background. Let their eyes adjust and see him for yourselves. Some of the best stuff in horror films is the stuff that you don't notice right away. And you look in the background, it's there. You don't need a music sting to tell them that it's there. Let it work. Even subtitles. I have subtitles on because I like subtitles. Even if subtitles are not subtle. They say something like ominous music. Happy music. Stuff like that. It's just like, what? No. And even goes music sting. I'm like, even deaf people can't get away from that. So, yes. And now he's on the run. He survives. They put they're like, oh, we found one survivor. I'm like, yeah, the girl. Did everyone die? Oh, there's one survivor. And it's the dad. And you're like, wait a minute. Wait, when did he show up? He was an hour away. When did he get attacked? What? And then you find out Martin has his car, though. He's on 4 foot. He can't get far. Set up a 10-mile radius. And then he's revealed he has the guy's car. But I call bullshit. The guy was an hour away. There's no way he got there before the climax went down. The guy was an hour away. For this to happen, he would have had to have gotten there before the climax went down. After they went to the neighbor's house, then Martin would have had to have subdued him, but not killed him for some reason, and hid his car in the bushes to set up his getaway. Bullshit. He was an hour away just before the climax started. There's no way he could have got there. No way. It's a twist for the sake of a twist, and it doesn't make any sense. And I was told this was the final chapter of the trilogy. Bullshit. Because they set up a sequel with Ellie, the main girl, now at her mom's house. And she's with the dog, and she takes the dog outside. She goes back in, she goes upstairs, she goes to bed, and you hear a window break. That's the end. And I went, that's it? I was severely disappointed with this because I was told that this was the final chapter of the trilogy. The final film. It doesn't seem that way. It seems like, yes, we finally got a direct sequel to the first one, which is good. And I did like this better than the first one, even though it's not as... I don't really go for quality-wise. I go about enjoyment. And I think I kind of enjoyed this better. The characters weren't better. But I just think overall I was more into it than the first one. Although, I did like the second one better than this one. Because there's more... That was better quality and it was better acting. This one is okay. Like I said, it's probably not for me, but if they do eventually come up with the fourth one, which I hope he gets enough money to do, instead of just saying, you know what, I'm going to make this, I don't care how much money I have, and that's kind of where the problems lie with me, is like, he's like, if I don't make this now, I'm never going to make it, so let's just do it, and he had $75,000, and we got this, where he edited, wrote, produced, did the music. Yeah, he didn't have any employees, he did it himself. And you guys, oh, I gotta applaud that. But then, I was watching the credits and I'm like, I gotta give it to this guy. He did this, himself. And then I watched the movie and I was like, yeah, never mind. I know he didn't have a lot of money. And this guy has been the sole, guy pushing him forward. He directed all 3 films and I give it up to him, but I hope you get more money and do a 4th one to kind of wrap this up, because if this is supposed to be the final chapter, he should have been dead. Like, he should have died when he fell down. He got shot and fell down the steps. He should have been dead there. I understand with slasher franchise. This is more of a slasher than the second one. The second one was a character study, but this one is more of a slasher, and I just think, for me, personally, if you do another one, end it. Don't leave it on a cliffhanger. End it. You should have ended with this. There are not a lot of horror franchises to just have 3. There's the Rob Zombie trilogy, Boogeyman. Can't say The Grudge anymore. The Ring, but even that's kind of weird. I'll get to those eventually. As it goes for a score for this, I'll give it a 7, just like the last one. I liked it better than the first one, but not as much as the second one. And if you could see that they're either 6 or 7 range of films, probably not my cup of tea. I wouldn't be against buying these eventually to kind of have in their background, because I do like a good indie trilogy. Oh, Urban Legends is another one. I do like a good trilogy, but they should have had a definitive ending here. I'm pretty sure in his eyes, he's like, I could have a definitive ending, but I think I'm going to leave it open just in case. And if this ends up being the last one, fine, but I don't know. I mean, Black Christmas left it open, and we never got an actual official sequel to it. It's me believe it's good, but technically it's not official. But I don't know. This was okay. So 7. That's my final one. Okay. So what are your thoughts on Malevolence 3? Killer! Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.